In the wake of the mortgage mess, even with lower than usual interest rates and home buying incentives, Americans are taking the steps to arm themselves with the tools they need for landing an effective loan and cutting closing costs. Saving money is the magic word here. To give us all the tips we need on how home buyers and homeowners and buyers can cut closing cost fees, we're joined now by President and CEO of Entitle Direct Group. Welcome to you, Tim. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Tim, we'd like to start by getting you to recommend, should we shop around before settling?
By all means, by all means. Just as you would a TV set or a car that you'd be buying, I recommend shopping for services relating to refinancing or closing on your home.
Now, you say that there are things that are negotiable when closing and things that are not. Let's go through each one of them. I'd like you to start with the things that are negotiable.
Sure. The upfront points, for example, some lenders charge upfront points, others don't. Some lenders charge higher documentation fees, others lower. There's also processing fees that are negotiable. Basically, the lender fees are competitive, and I recommend that consumers shop around from lender to lender to compare those fees.
Let's go through kind of point by point. Let's start with the mortgage application fee. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. The mortgage application fee is a fee that the lender attempts to collect in order to pay its employees to process the application. And larger lenders may have different costs involved than smaller lenders. Online lenders may have different costs involved in processing that application than brick and mortar lenders. So it does differ from lender to lender.
And you talked a little bit about points just a little while ago, but what are points exactly, and is there any way that we can change someone or persuade them to give us a lower point?
Absolutely. It's a very common sort of practice for upfront points to be exchanged for a higher interest rate. So quite often a lending institution would offer 3, 2, or 1, or even 0 upfront points, but for a steadily increasing interest rate going forward.
And how about the processing fee?
Same as the application fee. There are numerous fees that lending institutions charge that are called different things. And processing fee and application fee sometimes are the same thing.
Is it different when you have the origination fee and the underwriting fee?
The underwriting fee is also yet another fee that institutions tack on. Some institutions charge underwriting fees and others do not. So what I recommend is actually for a consumer to go from lending institution to lending institution. It's very easy to do these days. You can go to sort of 3 or 5 in a couple of hours, online and offline, and request GFEs, good faith estimates. The good faith estimate compares all of these fees from institution to institution very easily and very quickly.
Now, as far as the appraisal fee goes, it seems like you can find the appraiser yourself, right, and use their price based on what you're ready to pay.
Well, Lindsay, that's a good question. Sometimes you can, but oftentimes a lender would, or a mortgage broker would prefer their appraiser. Because they know that appraiser and its practices and so forth. So, oftentimes a consumer is sort of stuck, I guess, with the appraiser that a lending institution provides.
Now, you also say that there are some non-negotiable fees. Let's go through these. The first thing, you're talking about some credit report fees, which is kind of funny because you often hear that you can get credit report fees for free. So this is kind of a point that can be confusing for some.
Well, once again, we just spoke of the appraiser. A lending institution prefers their appraiser. Similarly, a lending institution or a mortgage broker would prefer their credit reporting entity. They would like to get the credit report for the borrower directly from that entity and review it and analyze it and so forth.
And what do you mean by prepaid interest?
Well, prepaid interest is very different from points. Sometimes they're confused, but prepaid interest, it refers to the daily interest that is charged a borrower between the time of the closing of the loan, say on the 16th of May, to the end of the month. Because, as you know, mortgages are often paid at the end of every month, and that prepaid interest is that stub period from the middle of the month to the end of the month.
Now, private mortgage insurance, is this something that everybody has to have?
No. Depending upon the loan-to-value ratio of the particular refinancing or purchase transaction, private mortgage insurance is either needed or not needed. I believe the ratio today is 80% loan to value, and anything higher than 80% requires private mortgage insurance.
And homeowners insurance, again, that's something that we can shop around for ourselves, correct?
Well, you could shop around and negotiate, certainly, in terms of negotiating to have it or not. You must have it. No lender will allow or provide cash to buy a house or refinance without homeowners insurance. But by all means, it should be shopped around.
Finally here, the filing fees. I guess everybody has to get paid, so no way really around that.
Well, governmental, those filing fees refer to governmental filing fees, recording the deed, recording various parts of the mortgage and so forth, and those are set by county, sometimes town by town, $35, $50 and so forth. So those are mandatory fees. As
far as the flood certification, I guess this all depends on where you live and what kind of flood zone your property falls into.
Exactly, Lindsay. That's exactly right.
Now, what are some of the rights that the client has and should be aware of when it comes to lender fees?
Well, the first right is really the ability to shop. I'm pleased to say that starting January 1, 2010, so just 6 months or so away, the forms have changed. There's a new good faith estimate and a new HUD-1 statement that will be universal, across the United States. And those two documents will allow and even promote consumers to shop for all of these services that we've just discussed. We're excited about them at Entitle Direct, and you can find them on our website because we feel as though those will be transparent, make the process a lot more transparent for consumers.
Tim Dwyer, thank you so much for your time and tips. You're helping to make a lot of clarity for many of us out there who are confused. Hopefully you can help some people out there who are trying to cut some corners.